Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Linda, and I am a docent at the Yellowstone Art Museum, and I'm so glad that you're tuning in to Art and the Story. And today we're going to talk a little bit about bears in Montana, and then I'm going to read you a story about a polar bear, and we're going to look at a beautiful piece of art done by an artist in our auction at the Yellowstone Art Museum. And the first artist that I want to talk about is Brad Rood, and Brad is in our permanent collection as well, and this piece is in our auction. And Brad loves nature. He often does wildlife and equates it to people. He has a really good sense of humor. And the other thing that Brad does that I happen to love is that he does the most wonderful patinas with his artwork. And this is a sculpture, and there's a grizzly that lives in Montana. And the story that we're going to have today later is about a polar bear that lives in the Arctic. And so this bear, we know it's a grizzly because grizzly bears have a hump on their back and just the way his face looks. And then, of course, there's a horse. And he's talking about, with this particular piece, how we sort of do with what animals do, and sometimes we just have to balance life. And and you can look at this piece of art any way you want to, but I think they look like they're balancing and trying to make things work. And one thing about Brad, let's talk about patinas, because we're going to look at another bear, and that bear has a totally different look. And this bear, the grizzly bear, as we walk around it, you can see the highlights. They're almost golden and with darker brown, and then the horse is a different color, and that is called a patina. And they use really harsh chemicals to make this happen, and it's an art in itself. So we're going to move on to another piece of sculpture. And sculpture, we can walk around all around it, as opposed to a painting, which is flat. Okay, let's go on to the next bear. And we're walking over here. And here's another wonderful sculpture. And this sculpture is also in bronze, and it's called Caught. And what do you think is caught, you guys? Look down here, and bears love to eat fish. And some of them fish for salmon in the rivers, and they're very good at it. And this little bear, compared to the grizzly bear, look at the shape of this bear. It's rounder, it's got round ears, and like kind of a rounder nose. Everything about it has a different look than the bear that we saw, the grizzly bear. Now, look at the patina, and that's that new word that we learned, patina. And looking at this piece of artwork, you would think that it almost looks like stone, and it fooled me, but it isn't. It's another way to put a finish on a piece of bronze that the artist chose. And I think it's beautiful. And then he's got this very goldfish over here. And I'm not totally sure of the procedure for doing this little goldfish, but I think it's really pretty. And it might just be polished bronze. I'm not sure. Anyway, Mark Harris is the artist. And now we are going to go over and look at a piece of art with a big polar bear. This polar bear is called the Ice Queen, and she is absolutely gorgeous. And she is made out of soft pastel, and I don't know if any of you have ever worked with that before, but you can move it around and smooth around. And she does almost every year a beautiful, beautiful animal. And once again, Brenda has a really, really close connection with nature and animals, and she loves doing beautiful, majestic pictures of animals. And almost the ones that I've seen before that she's done, they're always really big and close up, and usually of a head of whatever animal she happens to be painting. Now, I'm going to tell you, we have polar bears live in the Arctic, and our bears live in our Montana. We have black bears and we have grizzly bears, for sure. And this bear does not live here. And this bear is the biggest bear in the world. And the males are huge, and they weigh, if they stand up on their back feet, they're more than 10 feet tall. Can you imagine how tall that is? They're really big. And the female bears, or sows, they are about half the size of the males. And polar bears, like Miss Ice Queen here, they have usually 2 cubs at the same time. They almost always have twins. And our story that we're going to read today is about polar bears and some twins. So, the name of this book is I Am a Polar Bear, and it's written by Paul Covello, and I think it's a really cute bear. And so, I'm going to sit down here, and I'm going to read this story, and I hope you enjoy it. It's really a cute book. And then you can see the bear behind me. All right, I'm a polar bear, and I do what polar bears do. I have a shiny black nose, big fuzzy paws, and thick white fur. And I might add here something I learned about polar bears. They have fur on the bottom of their feet, so they can stay warm in the snow. And they also use their front feet to swim, and they use their back feet for rudders, so it kind of directs them. And I've heard that they can swim as far as 60 miles. That is a long way. There we go, and look at that beautiful countryside that they live in. And you can tell it might be really cold. All right, my family and I live in a very cold place covered with snow and ice. I love to hide in the sparkling snow over here. Can you see me? Can you find this little bear? Look at that. And what else do you see in this picture? We see a beautiful bird up here. It looks like it might be an owl. And this little guy. And they blend in. Did you notice that? A lot of the animals blend into their environment. Okay, let's look at the next picture. My twin brother wakes up and comes out to play, and he looks just like me. Together we run and we tumble and climb and slide down frosty snowbanks. And there they are. And I bet you guys, if you live in Montana, you've played in the snow and know how cold that is. And then look in this picture. Can you see the mom watching over them? Moms, even though you can't see them, she's watching out for her babies. And there she is, right there. Okay, let's see the next page. Oh, and this is our mom. She is always watching over us and leading the way. One day we'll grow up to be great big bears just like her. And it takes polar bears 2 years to be full grown. So they stay with their mom for a pretty long time. A windy snowstorm starts as we follow Mom into the icy Arctic. Snowflakes will fall all around, but I will see the way to go because I am a polar bear. Yeah, here we go. We reached ice floes drifting across the ocean for as far as I can see. And the slippery floes drift and wobble, but I can jump across them. I am a polar bear. And what else do you guys see in that picture? Look at that. There's seals. There's a bunch of seals. And that's a baby seal. Baby seals are white. These little guys are white when they're born. And then they change. And polar bears can swim a long way. Splash! We leap off the ice and dive into the chilly sea. Brr! The deep water is so cold, it's icy cold, but I can swim in it. I am a polar bear. And there they are. And what do you see over here? Another animal living in the ocean with them. And they look like they're having a really good time. And they're very comfortable. They have a lot of fur, and they have an undercoating, and they've got these feet that let them swim. We reach the shore and shake ourselves dry, and we see birds in the sky and blossoms on the hill. And maybe, do you guys think the time of the year might be changing just a little bit? Look at that. There's some flowers in the grass, and there's some birds. Yeah, and look at those beautiful colors. This artist used colors really well. They're bright and cheerful. The sun sets and the northern lights start to shine. And look at these northern lights. Sometimes you can see them in Montana. I haven't ever been lucky enough to see them. Mom snuggles close and our noses nudge a good night. Oh, there's Mama and her two babies. Yawn, and after such a busy day, we curl up together and we fall asleep because we're polar bears and we do what polar bears do. And that's the end of that story. And I really liked it. I hope you did too. And this is the book.